Hey guys, this is Old School Will again coming back at you. The other day, my daughter came over, Jen, and we were discussing dating, the old school version of dating in comparison with today's dating. And needless to say, if you saw the first version of it, hmm, my daughter is something else. So we decided to go ahead and split it up into two parts. That was part one, and now this will be part two. So this will be a totally uncut version, which is pretty lengthy. I think we got kind of carried away. Boy, did we get carried away. But my daughter brought out a lot of valid points, and I also brought out a lot of valid points as far as dating, the dating scene today. So I'm not going to bore you to death and talk you to death. All I suggest is that you grab your popcorn because this one is pretty lengthy. It's almost 55 minutes, I believe. So if you want to, just go ahead and get your popcorn, and it's very interesting throughout the entire version of it. So don't get discouraged because the ending part of it is really something else. You might really enjoy it. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, hi guys. This is old Will again, back with my old school discussion with Will, and I have a special guest with me here, and that's my daughter Jen, short for Jennifer. Uh, which I know you guys know by now. I'm really getting comfortable with
Yeah,
doing this for some
that's
reason.
good because you're having fun.
Yeah, I'm having fun. I mean, my daughter brings out the best in me. That's why I love about her. There you go with that neck thing there.
That's right.
Yeah, got me doing it.
See, some women bring out the best in you.
Yeah, but
If you had a life partner, Dad.
nah, nah, nah. We're not going that route.
Yeah, we're talking about dating part two.
Yeah, dating part two. And I know Jen has a lot of I know she's getting ready to set me up with a lot of things,
No,
but
just more questions on the
okay.
path that you have chosen in staying single now and your decision to do so. If would you ever be open to allowing someone into your life? If just coincidence, life, it links up, it syncs up, God sends it, it's received, it's in front of you, it just happens, cosmic, whatever, would you be open to dating someone?
Possibly. I can't say a definite no, but possibly. I had another friend that mentioned the same thing about just wanting to be friends and nothing else added to it. And me being who I am, I even rejected that. I just I know I come with baggage that I should have just dropped everything in the past, but sometimes it's easier said than done. It's not that easy at times, and you just try to continue living your life day by day and surviving.
But we all have baggage. I
Yeah,
mean, and
yeah,
some of our healing, there's lots of healing you can do on your own, but some healing, especially relationship healing, can only be done when you're actively in relationships. There's some patterns from the past that are just relationship driven that aren't self driven habits and issues that come up because of that connection with someone else that you can't correct until you're in a relationship.
true, true. I totally agree with that.
I guess my fear is here in this wonderful paradise by yourself, but you're by yourself. Nobody wants that for their parent. Nobody wants that, vision of someone being alone. I know you're not alone. I know you have tons of friends and you're very active in the work that you do, going to Jasper and bringing back the food and the donations, and you're very active. And I just know that there are women out there that you would be well suited to be with if you allowed them in.
Possibly.
Okay, so I got a possibly. So what type of women?
One step up from where I was last time.
Yes, I mean, kudos.
Wow.
So what type of woman would you be open to dating? I know you like old school. I know that's a phrase that a lot of men like to throw out there. We don't have the women with the old school values anymore and the traditional type women, but we also don't live in an old school world anymore.
I know that's one of the reasons why I feel like I'm so much of a dinosaur because traditional women have been replaced with feminists and modern women.
Okay, but what type of woman would you date?
I really prefer an intelligent woman, a woman that's going to show me the same respect that I would show her, one that's not on TikTok twerking, cursing. Every other word is, one of these curse words. I have never ever been into all of that.
Okay, well, if she liked to go out, dinners and museum and that type of going out activities, would you be open to leaving your oasis here and
Possibly. I have to be careful of gold diggers because
okay, but see, that's not enjoying going to dinner and museums, and because when you're getting to know someone, you don't just want to get to know them where they're comfortable. I don't just want to get to know you in your house because you're comfortable in your house. That's your setting.
oh yeah,
So if we go out and about, how do you react and interact with, the serving staff and people that we just walk by, or a situation comes up and someone is rude or I get shoved. I need to see your interactions with everyday people. So just because she likes to do things, I mean, we're quick to throw out the word gold digger, but that doesn't necessarily align.
hmm.
So would you be open to someone who is like has more of a social life than you do, to actually stepping into that world with them?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, see, we're
Yeah,
making headway here.
yeah. When you're old school, you still have those old school values like dating, real dating.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to a high price fancy restaurant on the first day because you're taking an unknown person and you're spending $400, $500, $600 on it. You don't even know this person. But as far as getting to know a person means, chit chatting or chit chatting. Where did that come from? Talking to a person on the phone or texting every so often. Being old school, I don't like texting. I like talking to a person one on one, landline type, where you can have all this iPhone business or texting,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a rarity. It's hard to find a person that's really still there. A person that's energetic like I am. God, I still believe in working myself to the last ounce of energy. I don't know why, but that's the way I was brought up.
So somebody physically fit,
Physically fit.
likes to go on walks.
A person that's natural. I'm not into all of the phoniness.
Okay,
And I'm going to
so
stop there.
when
I'm
it
not
comes
here to
to
bash anyone.
exactly, and when it comes to hair, especially, okay, and for the most part, we'll assume you're talking about Black African American women. It could be any race.
I'm talking about women in general.
But when you
Yeah.
got to the hair portion,
No.
you're not speaking about Black women.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what I want to clarify.
And a reason for that, you have to remember, we came from 3 generations of beauticians. So I know about all of that. My mother, my sister, and my sister's daughter.
And see, I know when you say that, why you say it, because I know what you lived. So you've
Mm-hmm.
lived only with natural women. My mother actually had her hair done by your mom, and then I
Right.
had my hair done by Big Mama when I was
Right.
little. So I know that's why you like that. Not that you're necessarily bashing weaves or wigs or anything
No.
else. I know you grew up
Right.
with beauticians doing natural hair in
Right.
the salon that was built onto the house.
Right.
But when you say it, if I were to just take a clip of it, ouch! it doesn't feel so good to hear it when you say it and it's just framed like that without.
Right. I understand.
And men today tend to, I want a natural this, that, and the other, but the culture that has been built around Black women and hair and looking a certain way, it's been crushing from men as well as from women to look a certain way physically. So I can't down anybody because they have weave or a wig or prefer to do this, that, or the other with their hair, even if a man's preference is natural. Well, great. At the end of the day, she's going to pop that wig off and put it on a little head thing, and you'll go to sleep and she'll be natural. But as she's out in society trying to look her best and emulate what society thinks is the best, she might have to do some faux setting to that to get through the day.
Did you hear what you just said? What society is always what some other person thinks. A person can't be themselves. They can't be natural anymore. it's just like when I left the dealership. I was the finance person I was talking with. Oh, we got the new car, by the way.
That's a different video.
That's a different video though. But the EV is out of here. But okay, let's get back to what we were talking about. What were we talking about?
You said the finance person.
Oh yeah, yeah. He and I were talking, and we were doing a little ministry work there, and he was telling me how much how my beard looked. I said, yeah, I learned to not dye because it's the way God wanted it to be. So I no longer dye it like I used to.
And who else told you to let it be? Let it be, let it be. Naturally, just let it be. That would be me. Because as a woman, I know, as a woman of my age, and I don't speak for all women, but I know that the natural salt and pepper it's just a very distinguished look for us. And if a man keeps it up, then it's a distinguished, polished look. And it's a very alluring look.
Right.
Versus seeing somebody who you know is older and you're seeing all this dark hair and it's like it doesn't match the age that I'm thinking you should be. You should have the salt and pepper. So you're welcome.
But doesn't that work the same way with women?
If you're with a man who actually can look at you and embrace you in your natural beauty and say you don't need that, and who can build you up in that confidence, absolutely.
But believe it or not, there are a lot of old school women. Some women say that, well, they can't find a decent man. Well, you can't find a decent man because they're so into trying to please the populace. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense to me.
Well, who are you looking at the majority of? If the old school man who likes the natural, a rarity, versus everybody you're competing with who has hair down to here, looks a certain way, makeup done, face polished. You got to remember, it's slim pickings. So it's like a competition.
Both ways.
So unfortunately for the natural girl, just as with the girl with braids, as the girl with wig or with a weave, the competition, you're looking for a certain demographic that likes a look that you produce. And for some women, natural hair is short hair. And it's a look that is more Afrocentric than a lot of men like. So you cover that to try to give them the look that they like.
Right.
So it's not just on, the woman. I'm just doing this because I don't. No, I'm trying to catch something of value. And unfortunately, a lot of men like the longer hair. I mean, luckily, I see a turn in the trend of men coming out saying, hey, we love the natural and it's beautiful and it's beautiful to see. I remember being younger, obviously, but growing up, learning how to do my hair. It wasn't until high school when I met my friend Kia, and her mom was a beautician, just like Big Mama was, but Kia had natural curly hair. And that was the first little black girl that I met that had hair like mine. So here I was experimenting on my own. I mean, my hair was rock hard with mousse and hairspray because I didn't know I just knew it was supposed to look curly and it was supposed to be, a certain look. But I didn't know it could be soft and beautiful and curly and this. And Kia's mom actually showed me that, what to do.
Right.
And as time has progressed, even finding someone who knows how to cut curly hair, the times have changed. We have more salons and more black technicians actually stepping into the role of doing natural stuff. Before, I'd have to go to white salons to get my hair cut because there were more white curly hair girls than black curly hair girls. I'm almost 50. So it's, once upon a time we were a pariah. We weren't, everywhere. Now we're everywhere. And it's beautiful that there's so many curly hair women everywhere that we can go to different types of salons, Asian, Latina, black, white, and there are people experience that can actually, cut hair and you don't have to, only select based off of race or demographic to do your stuff, but that's taken time to change. Just like it's taken women time to sit in their naturalness and be comfortable with that.
Right.
So you can't count them out just because in the beginning she doesn't know that she can be that level of comfortable around you. She might have to grow into that.
And most women need to understand that they say men don't listen. That's where you could be wrong. Good men do listen. They just kind of store everything in their brain for later encounter. But I listen to every word that comes out of a person's mouth. That's how I learned so much. When you have a woman that how can I put this without offending anybody?
Be offensive. I'll fix it for you.
Okay. When you have a woman that actually listens to, just grasp every word that come out of your mouth and they're sincere about it, men pick up on that. When you have a woman that, in reversal, if you have a woman that pretends to listen, but they're still about themselves, men pick up on that also. One of the worst things that's going on today is men are afraid. They're afraid of
Amen to
dating.
that.
Men, yeah, and I know women are too, but men.
Now I'm talking about on the men's side because
Yeah, well, they're afraid, and I'm gonna try to point out some reasons why. First of all, are they going to get that respect from the person that they are dating that they know that they're entitled to? Sometimes they're not. Secondly, if that person more about themselves than they are about anything else, and what I mean about that is, it would always be me, and this is what I want, and this is what you should do, and it's almost like they're taking the reversal role of being a man and not letting the man lead. And I realize there's a lot of, what do you call them, Chads or Pookies and Ray Rays and all these guys that's going to tell you what you want to hear. And I pick up all this off of TikTok and all that. That's where all that came from.
I've never met a Chad or Pookie or a Ray Ray.
Yeah, well, they're out there, and they're out there in mass. But it's it's respect all the way around. And if y'all, and I think I stated this on the first video, if y'all are not of even keel, it's not going to work. If y'all can't understand each other or agree with each other or agree to disagree with each other, then it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about dominance, and that is with most women, and my daughter is definitely the exception to that. But with most women, it's almost like you're battling another man for dominance.
Well, my ex would disagree with you there.
Yeah.
He used to tell me, nobody would want to date me because no one would want to date another man. Because in that, and I get exactly what you're saying, because in the end of that relationship, there was such a lack of respect towards him.
Right.
That I absolutely went back and reverted into hyper independent. Oh, I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna show you I don't need you. I became another man in the relationship. So I know what you're saying about it feels like, it can be dealing with another man. And unfortunately, with the independent state of women and not having and being on our own for so long and not having a partner and possibly not having seen in a household a healthy relationship and a healthy situation. I look back at that for myself. You and I've had this conversation. I remember small moments of childhood, very few, but I don't remember my childhood. I don't. And I hate to say that to you or to my other parent, but I don't. So I don't remember, and I don't have a guidebook, a roadmap of what it looked like to have a healthy relationship, a tumultuous, whatever y'all's relationship, I don't remember. So whatever happened, no worries, because it's lost on me. But I don't have that roadmap for what is it I'm looking for. What does healthy look like between a man and a woman?
I somewhat blame myself for a lot of that, but I can't take 100% credit for all the bad things that occurred because, and I'm not going to go into detail on any of that, but it was.
Yeah, and it's not about blame or this isn't a me pick you moment.
Oh no.
But this is more of saying for a lot of women, because a lot of households now are one parent households.
Right.
So we're going at this blind. Mm-hmm. We're going at this from what we've seen on movies,
right.
what we've read in books and love stories, what we've seen on television, what we see on social media. We're going off of the feeling of the butterflies that we know when we meet somebody new and how everything is new and fresh, and we're wanting to keep emulating that feeling, but we don't know exactly what it is we're doing in it once we get in it.
Right.
But the respect thing, obviously, it's a given. It's either there or it's not there. So you want a natural woman who stumbles into your life, who's respectful, and what else?
Someone that can hold a conversation.
Okay. You're running into women that can't?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Uh, Not all women, but once in my past, yeah, it seemed like women say they always choose the wrong men. Believe it or not, it works both ways. Uh, I just can't wrap my I know what my problem is, and I stated before the fact of being afraid, fact of knowing what the outcome is going to be before it even gets to that outcome because of the experience of the past.
So you don't think sometimes you force that outcome by knowing, I know how this is going to end, so I already gear myself towards that and
Yeah,
I'm steering it there?
yeah, I totally agree with that. That's almost like hitting the nail right on the head. I totally agree with that. And I just don't want to exert that energy toward another relationship that I know is uh, probably will be doomed not only because of the other person but because of me.
So if you know that and you consciously know that, then consciously work on that in the present time.
I have. That's why I'm at peace with
Well,
myself now.
you're not working on anything by yourself, Dad.
I am. I'm perfectly satisfied with the way my life is,
Okay,
the way
yeah,
it's
blah, blah, blah,
turning
blah, blah.
out.
Well, we're talking on you and relationship. Okay,
That's what I was talking about.
let me see. What else did I have? I know I had questions about,
You had
yeah,
this written down?
I have some things, points
Good
written down. Yes, I
gracious.
did. I told you. I spoke with the congregation, and some of my friends
What
had
congregation?
questions, and
Are we
so
live on your phone
no,
here?
we're not.
Okay.
So ego, a man's ego in a relationship, your ego in a relationship. Do you think that caused any
No,
failures?
I can actually say I don't because I'm an easygoing person. I'm a I've always been a problem solver. Uh, I'm the type of person I thrive on results and not excuses. Because I mean, the excuses come a dime a dozen. Everyone can make them any time they feel like, oh well, this is the reason why I did this and this. But I believe in resolving issues. Been in a work status that I've been in for so long, that was my primary function, is to resolve issues. Um,
So can you push pride aside in an instance when you are not correct and your partner is correct?
oh, I'll tell you in a heartbeat if I'm wrong. But as far as a partner, let me put this out there. Oh, you opening up a can of worms, whether you know it or not. I have never ever or can remember when the three major people that were in my life ever admitted to being wrong about anything. And that weighs heavily on your mind throughout all the days, years, months, generations. I mean, not generations, but decades. It weighs heavy on you, and it impacts you as far as where you're going to go in your future. Because if I can just hear one woman say, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I was wrong." I've never heard that, and that's a godly truth. So that weighs heavy, and I know there are a lot of guys out there probably say, "Wow, yeah, you know, old school, you're right about that. I can't ever remember my wife ever saying she made a mistake." Or if you sit back and you try to tell a person, "This is the way it's supposed to be done," I say, "Oh no, you do it this way," and it fails. Okay, don't want to say I told you so, but it's there in the back of your mind somewhere. But
You don't
that
think that's generational? Do you think it's still with the younger women
I
today
don't.
as well as the
Oh,
older
it's
women?
definitely with the women today. God, I see it every single day on these social media sites, and a person could tell you straight up, "Hey, you know the light was green, don't you?" "Oh no, it was red. It was red." "I have it on video. It was green." "Well, there's something wrong with your camera. It was red."
Touche. I like that new commercial with the instant replay where they pull out the flag and I
Oh
like the
yeah,
instant replay. I wish that
yeah,
was
I
real.
like that. Yeah, I wish I
I wish that
could
was real.
edit that into this. This would be a fine time to have that going.
So a woman who is not prideful, who understands the dynamics of the old school relationship, respect wise. Now, leadership wise, do you want to be a man in control, or is it a partnership where everything's equal? She comes into it equally matched with you, or do you see yourself as superior because you're a man?
No, I've never seen myself as superior. I've seen myself more as uh, uh, a person that wants to lead the situation in the right direction. Let's see, how can I rephrase that? I don't believe in dominating anyone because, we're all human beings. And um, I stress more as far as letting you know, as far as what I know, if it's going to be right or wrong, or if something's going to happen if you did A, B, and C that you don't know about. I would let you know up front. But so many times a person become combative with you just trying to give them that firm advice.
Okay, so you could be on an even keel. You could be dating a CEO of some corporation and feel
Oh,
and not feel.
let me tell you about this CEO and this boss babe and
Oh no.
no, 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 no. You kind of brought it up, and I'm just gonna say how I feel about it. As you know, my last wife worked on and got her PhD. It was almost like she was in a totally different world after she got that. I could care less about your status in life or how much money you have in a bank account. I don't, when you get older in life, all of that means absolutely nothing.
Hmm.
Me as a single person, I'm fully established until I keel over and start pushing up maggots. I'm good. So why would any of that matter to me right now? Whereas, and you notice I'm kind of slow because I'm trying to choose
Hmm.
my words right here.
Hmm.
Whereas that other person, that's all they throw in your face is how many certificates they got hanging on the wall. And
That some people
I
are
didn't
like.
I didn't say all people. I said some people are like that. And for some unknown reason, I seem to always get hooked up with them. Uh,
Well, it's just like some men wouldn't be comfortable dating the CEO type female. Some
no,
men wouldn't want to date a woman who is in a leadership role in her everyday life because they would feel like she would bring that home and wouldn't know, to hang up her hat at the door.
that's thank you. That's where you have to learn. Just like in my business, being a police officer all those decades, you have to know how to turn that light switch off when you hit that front door of your home. Because if you don't, you're bringing all that negative stuff that you encountered in the streets home with you, and that's going to affect your entire home life. And most people, or some people, still don't know how to do that. That's where I guess that term boss babe came in at, and other terminology that was used on that, but I don't do that here. But that's where that mostly came at. People don't know how to turn themselves off and have a good time and live their lives. I don't understand how. Nah, let me leave that one alone.
Some people get stuck in a cycle of strength.
True.
And for some people, that's the ultimate. Let me show you who I am. Let me show you all my
Right,
strength.
right.
And for others of us who have lived both sides of the coin, for me, strength is weakness.
But your home is supposed to be a place of tranquility. All that
Mm-hmm.
nonsense on outside of your address, it should be left on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
When you're at home, you should be able to joke, clown around, do whatever you want to inside your house and appease each other.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that anymore. Everyone is still in competition, not only on the outside, but inside their home as well.
So if you found that, if you started dating, how long would you, now, even better, if you started dating, would you date one person exclusively, or have you learned that that's not the best way to go and to date multiple people, three or four?
If we were, if that one person, if we were hitting on all 8 cylinders, then I would date just that one person because this may build up to something better, and I would not entertain outside interference on that. Which a lot of time when people see you're doing good, especially of the same or opposite sex, they're going to do everything they can to try to wreck that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been around long enough to understand what all of that means, and I will not have any part of it. Or even if you bring family wants to interfere in your life, then you have to sit them down and say, well, wait a minute, you kind of gone a little bit too far here. We need to back this train up a little.
So you think the circle that you have around you is an influence, even if you feel like you're opposite of those people in your circle, like you've got, someone who's a big jokester and, that's not really your personality, but they're fun to be around, or maybe someone who suffers from infidelity in their relationship with their partner. If you've got those people in your circle for whatever purposes, you don't think that that's good to have that around something you're building, or?
Well, that's where you should come in and tell them, hey, whoa, there is boundaries here. You were kind of out of line on what you just said, and I really don't appreciate that. And if they can't accept that as a friend or whatever, then they don't need to be a friend. Because the thing is, you have to understand, you're here to live your life the way you feel it should be lived.
So do you think men are influenced by the circle of people that they have around them and the decisions they make in picking a partner?
Oh, definitely. It works both ways, the same especially with women. They have a circle around them that if a woman, from what I've seen, if a woman sees you're doing good, you got a lovely husband, a good family, a beautiful home, and they're kind of bitter, they may try to do anything they can to disrupt that. And if you're not of strong will and strong mind and strong character and understand what is about what is taking place now, then they're going to destroy your relationship with your family. Mm-hmm. And that's where you have to learn to say, oh, wait a minute, no, you can't be too much of a friend if you're telling me, hey, we need to go out and party tonight. Forget about your husband and kid. Let's go out and have a good time. Or he's not worth it. He's not making the money you're making, and all this other nonsense that comes with this.
And the same could be said on the male side.
Yes,
there's those influences that.
But normally it's more on the female side than it is on the male side, from what I'm seeing.
Well, for you being a guy, I would think you would say that, just as I would say, I see it from the male side.
Right. Yeah. So let's call it a draw and say it's 50-50.
It's even stats.
See how, folks, how easy that was?
It was very easy to communicate it.
That's right.
You see it through your lenses. I see it through mine. I mean,
Right.
I see the influence that men have, and I do see the influence that women have. I mean, I remember at times when I was younger in my first marriage where I did go to where my friends were going. I wasn't the clubbing type, but suddenly I'm out in clubs because that's where my friends were. Mm-hmm. Even though I was married with a young child, suddenly I was back in the city, and it was, hey, let's go do this and do that and do that. And I was out with them, and not in with my marriage like I should have been. Right. So I can definitely recognize and say, yeah, absolutely correct.
Right.
We can all be influenced by the circle of people around us, even if we don't think it's that big of a deal. It usually ends up being that big of a deal.
A lot of times I sit here and I just dream about or reminisce about how it would be if I was sitting out there on a boat dock and had someone sitting next to me and holding a conversation and about anything and everything, how nice that would be. And I just shut myself off to that fact, to that dream. And I guess it's because I just don't want aggravation of trying to work toward it, and then wind up in a total failure. To me, it's advice that my last wife gave me, that I need to go out and find myself. She had no idea how powerful that statement has been. And that statement was made back in 2003. And 21 years later, I am living the best of my life.
I also today, while you left me alone for 3 hours, in between my nap status and eating your shepherd's pie and your pistachios and everything else in your fridge, I sat outside and while it was raining, and then when it wasn't raining, and as beautiful as it was, I realized how alone I was out there. Mm-hmm. And then you start thinking, and then I'm thinking too much. And I'm thinking the same thing, man, it would be wonderful. Not that I'm looking for you to pass anytime soon, but later in life, I know you plan this to be a family home. So I can see myself here. And then I'm like, I can see myself here alone.
And that's the purpose. That was the purpose, not for you being here alone.
But well, that's the problem.
That was the purpose of taking an old house, as this place is, and trying to make it what you hope it would be for the future generations.
But the sad part is, I see myself in the same vision that you see yourself, sitting out there alone. And there's nearly 30 years between us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's me spending nearly 60 years on my own.
But it doesn't have to be that way.
But it's easy to slide into that slot with the same thought process and patterns that you have. With as alike we are, I start to see myself the things that ruminate with me when I think back on the lessons I've learned and the things I've been told. You know, some of the impactful stuff was hearing, you know, from my other parent, you don't know how to pick a man. You pick, they pick you, and you basically just, you know, go with whoever picks you. You know, you try to buy attention and affection. The negative things, even though I know they aren't true,
That's hateful.
those are the things that constantly in my cycles of, okay, I want to date, I don't want to date. Those are the things that kind of stick on repeat. And then they make the solitude seem, you know what, it would just be easier not to even engage.
No, you should be out there having fun.
And so should you.
I'm up in age.
So am I.
Nowhere near where I am.
Well, that's impossible, or you wouldn't be my dad.
Yeah, I know. Oh, good, very good point there. Very good.
I'm good with the math, you know. I
Yeah,
try.
I like that.
Okay.
That's very good. But anyhow,
Yeah, go ahead and laugh. That's what I'm here for. If I can't resign to being alone yet, neither can you. And I have not resigned to it yet.
No, you shouldn't resign to it. I'm happy. I have.
I'm happy too.
Okay, so
I've actually figured some things out. I'm not mad or bitter or angry at people. Not that I need to make amends with everybody, but in my heart, I have forgiven. I've said the words out loud. I try to do what the therapist has said. I write things down. I work through things. I'm in a really good place.
But you're a true catch for anyone out there. But they don't understand or realize that, because rarity is rare.
Well, that's just because UPS, FedEx, DHL, the United Postal System, none of them ring the doorbell. If they would ring the doorbell when they drop off my packages, they might open the door to love. But they don't ring the doorbell, because that's about the only way you're going to see me outside is if you come to my house and you're bringing me a package. I work remotely and I don't leave the house.
Well, now you can just go anywhere you want to without to worry about anything anymore. You good? Hey, folks, she's good to go now. She don't have to worry about all that stuff. We took care of that this morning.
He's talking about the hybrid vehicle.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's like somebody took a ton off my shoulders now. I feel good about that. But anyhow.
But you don't leave the house either.
Yes, I do.
Our weekly trips to Walmart do not count as leaving the house. You don't.
Do you understand the show you see at Walmart?
Yeah,
I'm just still waiting for this guy to come into Walmart on his horse with his boots on.
I don't
and his
even go
pink
inside.
shorts.
I just do the pickup order. The pickup people know me.
Well, see, you're missing out on a lot by doing it that way.
But I don't really want to visit the people inside the Walmart. I don't. Unless I need to go to FedEx, I don't. Do you see the mirror now?
I know.
Hermit.
I've seen the mirror from day one.
Okay, hermit. So one of us has got to fix it.
No, but you're trying to follow in my footsteps where
Not on
you
purpose.
shouldn't. I know, not on
Lead
purpose.
by example.
No.
Lead by example.
You have your life to live, just like I have my life to live. I had more baggage in my life that you still don't know about, a lot of this stuff, and will never know.
Part of the problem with our generational issues.
Yeah. Because it's not necessary. Sometimes it's true, you do take some things to the grave with you.
Things, but you've also learned through the course of our reconciliation and time that letting some of the bags down and letting somebody else pick up some of it and have knowledge of it, it doesn't lend them to change their view of somebody else just because you share your view and your experience.
True.
Sometimes it just solidifies that what they think they know is actually right, and it makes them feel less crazy.
True. I agree. Totally agree.
Not everything needs to go to the grave.
True.
Hermit.
No.
Really?
No.
I work remotely.
And?
I only leave the house for the tuba.
That's your choosing.
And yours?
It's my choosing.
Case in point.
You do not have to do what you're doing. I mean, you're living up on the west side of town. You have a lot of different avenues you can take. I myself, when I get out, just like going to Jasper to pick up food for the donation center. I mean, the centers down here. I meet a lot of people doing that. I laugh, joke, and minister and all of this stuff, and it brings me great pleasure doing that.
Now, if you were to meet a lady on one of these treks,
I would have to be, we would have to be somewhat, I would have to be attracted to that person, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
Because before I meet a person, I'm listening to what that person is saying, whether she's speaking to other people or family or whatever. I listen to the words that come from that person's mouth, and it gives me an indicator, a small indicator as to how who this person is and what this person is about. That's why so many, I've been so turned off to a lot of individuals that I have listened to.
So, if by chance, as you're dropping off at the Ronald McDonald house, you happen to meet a nice young woman.
Well, I did. I met your doctor. I mean, she was cool.
Well, that wasn't the Ronald McDonald house.
No,
My
she
doctor,
was-
I think, is younger than me, but I see her once a week now until we
No.
close this hole in my chest. If you want, I
No,
can let her
no.
know.
I'm just saying. I really enjoyed talking to her. But as far as being a doctor, we had a nice conversation, and I love the way she opened up and told me what was going on.
Aww.
Those are type. I guess I'm a different type of man. I cherish
I'm
things
gonna
like
let her
that.
know. I see her on the 6th.
No.
Yes,
no.
I'm just gonna ask her if she's open.
I'm just giving kudos to
If that's
where it needs to be.
the tiny crumb I can get from you for an opening, oh, you best believe I am talking to the doctor.
No.
Okay.
But anyhow,
We all know I am.
getting back to dating.
I'm trying to get you back to that.
Don't worry about that. That's okay.
Okay.
Because you know me, I'm the type of person, everything is already lined out the way it's supposed to be.
It is.
Oh yeah.
It's lined out. I already see her on the 6th. We already have an appointment together. I see her every week.
But anyhow, what other questions did you have for me? Since you had
It's
Oh,
just a
flew
couple.
over.
I like to text myself. Okay, since we were talking about the independence part of women, and men also very independent. Everybody's doing their own thing. When you meet a woman who has been in that phase for so long, do you see it as a mountain to climb? Are you open to allowing her to soften, to be the feminine? No woman wants to stay in the strong masculine when she's, in my opinion, no woman wants to stay in masculine energy when she is being courted or wants to be with a man. She wants to be soft and feminine, in my opinion. So if you meet a woman who has been on her own for however long, a couple of decades, and she's a bit in the independent running of things because that's the life that she's lived, are you open to seeing someone like that, knowing that there is a softness there, but it may take some time for that to actually emerge and be tangible?
possibly. Yeah, possibly.
So you can understand that women don't come with this sense of, I'm really independent and I'm really strong, because it's who, for most of us, it's not who we want to be. I don't want to be so strong that everybody runs from me. I don't want to be so strong and independent that everybody's like, oh, she's got it. I've got it just like you've got it. Like, because we have to have it. I take care of my household because I have to. It's part of my charge as being a parent, just like it should be anybody's charge. It doesn't make me any stronger than the next person, but my obstacles and challenges that have led me there may have made me a little more calloused than the next person.
And another thing you need to have to understand too is that we're not getting any younger. We're in our latter part of life. I mean, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about especially. No, you're not. God, you got quite a few years ahead of you.
48.
Wow.
Yep, and then downhill from there.
You got a pair of shoes in there from my teenage days that are older than that. Yeah, I don't throw anything out.
Well, we know this jean jacket man.
Oh yeah, it came from high school. I still got it. Anyhow, but what was I saying? You kind of detoured me there. It's easy to detour me when I'm talking.
I like it, and I'm so good at it.
You're very good at it. Just like that, you didn't want to talk about the feminist movement on the last go around. You thought Dad forgot about it.
No,
No, I ain't forgotten about
that's a
that.
whole video to sit down. And first, I
Yeah,
need
I
to
know.
Google the meaning of feminism
Yeah,
because it's taken so many different shoots and so
yeah.
many different. That's like talking to me about politics. Honestly, if someone were to say, you know, I want to sit down and talk about what liberal is and conservative, I need to Google and write them down because
I'm the same
for
way.
my mind that it's too much knowledge, and feminism is so many different things to so many different people, and just because one thing is a feminist thing to somebody doesn't make it feminist. So yeah, that's why that's a whole video.
I know. But
So
so many topics here that.
yeah, and you know, dating's the biggest. Well, it's not the biggest, but for me, it's the one hurdle I'm trying to figure out right now.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I have a friend who is also getting into the dating world and has a different approach of, you know, I'm going to date a couple of people versus, you know, how I put my eggs in one
Why would a
basket.
person do that? You date two different people with two different personalities and think they're gonna come up with the same conclusion. That is definitely not gonna work.
No, for knowing that, better yet, it's easy to tell at this age because we're the same age. So at this age, you know from jump, okay, first off, some of these younger folks that approach women our age are too young. If I meet someone that is my daughter's age, I'm sorry, you're too young.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in your 20s, I'm sorry. Your mom and I would have been friends, you know, at the playpen at Jamboree.
Right,
So
right.
you're too young. So some people are younger that have approached her. Some people are in our age group, and it's, you know, from the get-go, yeah, you're too young, but this person is persistent. You know what? I just want to know you. You seem very interesting. I want to get to know you. Okay, you know what? You understand we're not going to date. But if
Right.
you want to go out and we have lunch and we sit and we talk and you get to know someone my age and pick my brain, okay. So in that, basically the rules are up front. You know, this isn't going to be a long-term thing, but she's gaining knowledge about herself, about where she is in life, about what she's willing to put up with and not put up with, about what type of person she may like, you know, that's different from somebody else that she ever would have talked to because she wouldn't have talked to somebody in that age demographic. There are some 40-year-old men who act like they're in their 20s.
Oh yeah.
So she's getting experience of self.
Right.
After coming out of a marriage for however many decades, she's getting experience of self in dating multiple people because right now she's not ready. She wants a one-on-one relationship just like I do. She recognizes she's not at the point of being ready for that yet.
Right.
So she's taken the route of, I'm going to learn until I can get that, or until I feel I've met someone who can give me that. I'm going to learn as much as I can on this route.
Okay.
Which has me rethink my route. You know, maybe that's the route I should be taking. I don't know what else I can learn about myself. I know a lot about myself. Spend too much time in my own head as it is. But maybe dating multiple people is the thing to do until you find one person who, you know, calms your mind or makes the experience such that they're the person that's texting or calling or filling your time to where there aren't those voids for somebody else to slip in and fill that time.
Right.
I don't know, you know, if there's a right or a wrong way to date in today's world.
It's experimental like everything else in life.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. You just think back to your teenage days and do a comparison with that.
Oh, it's so much easier.
Well, comparison with that to what you're doing today.
See, teenage years, the one thing about marriage, number one, and the easiest way to say how that man got me was he gave me that storybook moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all it took was a story.
Mm-hmm.
It was grocery store, showing him where something was. I walk away to go back to my job. I turn back to see if he's watching me walk away. I have my, you know, waiting to exhale moment. He's watching me walk away. He comes up to my register. He asks me for my number. Yeah, we spent a decade together.
Right.
To this day, I had that moment. I'm good. You know, I had my romantic moment. I don't think there's more romance in my future.
Right.
You know, I think I sucked it all up when I was 17, 18 years old. I don't get it again, and I don't like that. You know, I would like to think that there's more romance out there in the 40 and 50 dating arena. I just, from the little bit of experience I've had in the last year, that's not what I'm encountering. And it feels like it starts off that way, and then people get comfortable and maybe complacent.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's, am I just holding a space in line? Is what I usually end up feeling like. And until either I walk away or they walk away.
Right.
And how do you break that cycle? How do you get the thing? How do you get to the next step? How do you keep building? I mean, why is it so easy for a man to get complacent and get comfortable that quick? Like, why is it easy to be, okay, you take her out in the beginning, you're dating her, you're courting her, you're doing maybe flowers and whatnot. Why does it get to the place where those dates stop and it's just, okay, I'll see you at the house and we'll hang out, even though that's great and that's awesome, but it feels like the progress of the relationship stalls.
But
Not necessarily that you have to keep taking somebody out, because come on, real world, we're all coming to a dollar point where that stops.
It
but
depends,
the progress.
It depends on that person's focus too. Is he focusing on you, or are there other people that fit into this equation here on the outside? Let's be real with this. And it sounds to me like there are other people fitting into this equation. Yep. Well, I'm beginning to wake up now, so now the thought process is really beginning to flow.
I see this.
But there's a lot of things that's added into this that you probably don't even know about, and probably never will know about, because men can be secretive too as far as what they're doing.
No, you're not that big of a secret. There's nothing that I haven't already allowed myself the honesty of knowing and believing. It's cute that men think that we don't already think and know that. I already have checked all of those boxes. I've already not resigned myself. I've already come full circle and be like, okay, probably, this occasion, probably, I could probably write them on a calendar, check back and ask those questions and receive those truths.
Right.
I choose not to. I like my little bubble right now because it's the little bubble I need right now. But, it's a bubble. I don't want to live in a bubble.
Well, folks.
This wasn't supposed to be a talk about me anyways. So, next question, Dad.
You have another one?
Well, just a few. Oh, because my friend said something about women today being viewed as a lamb amongst the wolves. I guess y'all being the wolves and us being the innocent type, those of us just stepping back into it. And there's some men who have...
I would have thought that'd be the other way around.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, some men treat dating like sport.
And a lot of women definitely don't treat dating as dating, period.
What do you mean?
They, and I spoke a little about this on the last go round, I think they think that dating is just to see what they can get out of it. It's not true romance, it's not true love or potential love, or none of this. From what I'm seeing as forward, and I know you keep telling me not to look so much on social media, but from what I'm seeing, it's all about the Benjamins. It's all about me, me, me. It's all about what can you do for me. It's not about relationships. It's not about old school relationships, let me put it that way, where you want to take time to really get to know this one person. You notice I say one person. I'm not talking about 2, 3, 4, 5 different people on the side, because all that's going to do is just confuse the crap out of you. Because now you don't, instead of having just one person to focus on, you're trying to focus on pleasing 3, 4, 5 people. And that is definitely not going to work. So you might, in the process, you might be letting this one good person go, or you're pushing that one good person on the side because of the rest of these people that you brought into your life, who can care less about you. But they're going to keep baiting you until they get what they want. I've learned that from the past also.
Yeah, that sounds how men date.
Yep.
Notice I said how men date.
But good men, real good men who have already been through all that nonsense in life, they don't think like that. All they think about is, I want to get to that finish line of life with someone that I can trust, someone that's going to respect me, someone that's going to be able to take time out of their busy schedule, if they have one, and cook me a good meal and surprise me, just like women want to be surprised. Men love being surprised. I mean, I would love to come home and there's a 5-course meal sitting on the table.
5-course meal.
Well, I don't know. I used to do that
Okay,
out
yeah,
there.
you
Yeah, I
a
know.
regular dinner with some sides. Come on now,
Oh, and
course
I'm
meal.
not, make it sound like
You want
going
an
to.
appetizer and
Yeah,
dessert?
heck yeah. See what I mean? This is what I mean, folks.
Whatever. I made cookies. I'm not even gonna have that conversation.
Okay, we're
But
gonna have
yeah,
that
no,
one.
5 course. Yeah, I mean,
Well, I don't really mean
yeah.
5 course. I mean having a good meal there, and you can sit down at the table and talk about how your day was and what we're planning for our future or what we want to do later on in life and all of this stuff. And you're in the quietness of your home without all these outside influences all around you trying to pick and grab at you and say, "I don't do that," or "Go this way, go that way." No. That's where all the controversy comes in at. It's just like out here. It was cloudy, it was raining, and all that stuff this morning, and now the sun's coming out with blue skies. You have to pick and choose how you want your life to be. If that person does not want to be with you, say goodbye. Move on. Time is wasting. This is your life. I mean, you shouldn't focus your life around another person that don't want to be with you. Let them go. And then later on down the line, they're gonna realize, wow, did I screw up on that one? I made a serious mistake. I should have stayed with that person. And it happens quite often.
Is that your message to all the good women and men?
That's my message to all the good women and men. Take it from old school Will here. I mean, I have a little experience on my side as far as what I have done and what I have seen other people do in all those decades of the work I had to do and all the breakups and marriages and all the negative stuff that transpired behind that as far as getting out of hand and people going to jail or people deleting each other and all kind of craziness. It's not worth it. But you have to decide as a person. Remember, God gave each person their own pathway of life, their own individual pathway of life. That don't mean you got to drag all these other people down your pathway with you.
Yeah.
When people are going to recognize that? If it's not meant to be, do not try to force it, because all you're doing is you're expending that time from your life, and it's not worth you doing that.
Very true.
Okay, with that said,
we know what kind of woman you like, and now the game is on. We shall find you one.
And I'd like to thank my special guest, my daughter I love so much, and I just can't wait till we do another video. I mean, I am really...
It won't be dating, dating.
Yeah, I am really into this. I mean, she just brings out the best of her old dad, and I'm really comfortable with talking with you guys out there, and hopefully, I just pray that some of the words you will kind of listen to and not continue wasting your life around someone that don't want to be with you. So with all of that said, until our next video, from Old School Will and
Jennifer, Jan.
Yeah, we'd like to say goodbye to you guys, because we've been on here for quite a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good day.
So, see you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.